Before we roll, hit like, subscribe, and join the race. Let's press play. Before smartphones, before streaming, before social media, technology moved slower. And somehow, because of that, it felt more meaningful. Growing up, we only had one phone line in the house. One connection for everybody. There weren't phones in every room. I mean, the one that we had was attached to the wall. There was no texting and no caller ID. One physical communication device shared by the family. Hello? Hello? Eventually, I found out a way to split the line, so then I could have my own phone downstairs. I didn't realize I'd be using the split for something else later on. I remember my dad getting so angry. My friend and I would be talking about wrestling, and we'd get so loud that he eventually hung up on both of us. I even had a phone list written on paper. Eventually, I asked for an electronic typewriter for Christmas, because I hated writing. I would type hockey stats, song lyrics, and phone numbers. And memories themselves were different too. We didn't scroll through thousands of photos on a screen. We had physical photo albums. You'd sit down with family and flip through the pages. It was filled with birthdays, vacations, Christmas morning, school pictures. Every photograph felt important because you couldn't instantly just take another 100 pictures. I had to wait for the photos to get developed. There was only 24 of them, and it took about a week. It's strange looking back at how disconnected everything once was. Then came school computers. I think I was in grade 6 or 7. Before us going at lunchtime, we'd rush into the computer room whenever they'd let us in. That's where I discovered games like Cross Country Canada, Gorilla, Nibble, then there was using paint and changing the color settings. I remember hot pink and cyan at the time. And then just going into BASIC and looking at the programming code, trying to understand what all those commands meant. Even then, I wasn't just interested in using computers. I wanted to understand them. Around the same time, I would basically take my hockey almanac with all my statistics and put it into a text document on a floppy disk and save it. At the time, it felt like I was preserving history. Unfortunately, the data got destroyed when the dog got at it. There was a dog bite. Asked the teacher if it was still okay. He's like, no, that disk is dead. Back then, losing data felt permanent. I remember in grade 9, I was invited to this teen party dance over that they had at the school. My friend came in wearing a suit, a briefcase, and a cellular phone, like the bulky ones. We kind of laughed at him, but I mean, he was ahead of his time. Like, this was like 1994. Then came high school. Windows 3.1 computer labs, chess games, Minesweeper, Chip Challenge, and eventually Windows 95. Everything suddenly looked modern, but it wasn't endless entertainment yet. It felt more like a giant encyclopedia connected to the world.
So I guess this is a story of how it changed our lives.
That was the internet, the World Wide Web.
Take a spin, now you're in with the techno set. You're going surfing on the internet.
Under the leadership of Vice President Gore, we've used information technology to bring government closer to citizens in many ways.
I'll be offering my vision when my campaign begins. I took the initiative in creating the internet.
It was a new thing. Governments had their own websites. Universities had simple pages filled mostly with text. Maybe a few tiny images if you were lucky. Everything was limited. 32 color graphic, slow loading pages, tiny resolutions, almost no video. Then in grade 11, my parents finally got me a computer. The phone line would now be used for dial-up internet. Introducing the TP-Link internal 56K modem.
Talk with up to 8 teens or adults, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
I could still plug in my phone in the modem, and I thought it was great at the time. But then the phone line would be tied up. If my parents tried to use the phone, the internet would disconnect. I was grateful my parents gave me that freedom. Suddenly, I could explore the digital world outside school hours. The computer had Windows 95. I could scan, print, and photocopy images. The Windows 95 disc came with a video, Buddy Holly by Weezer. Even though the quality was terrible by today's standards, it still felt unbelievable at the time. The future had arrived.
Hi, Lisa. Hi, Super Nintendo Chalmers.
One of the biggest moments for me was discovering emulation. I remember being at Moncton High, going at the public library, putting in my disc and downloading Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past for Super Nintendo, bringing that diskette home and playing it on my PC. I couldn't believe it. You're telling me that I can play Super Nintendo games without owning a Super Nintendo? And honestly, walking around school carrying game files with diskettes, it felt like some kind of secret mission. That's why the floppy disk felt valuable. You protected those things because downloading everything wasn't that simple. The internet required lots of patience. Then high school technology started evolving quickly. This is where I started learning Visual Basic, 3D graphics, video production, multimedia editing. I became fascinated with the idea that computers could create things, not just consume them.
Okay, so what is the $64,000 question? The key to success is developers, 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 developers. Yes! Can you believe it?
Hello, I'm Bill Gates, chairman of Microsoft.
Wait a minute.
In this video, you're going to see the future. Windows.
Then in high school in grade 12, there was this guy that was burning bootleg Windows 98 discs. So I ended up picking one up for $20. And for Visual Basic, I used that in art class. I actually asked the teacher whether I could build the program as my final project. She said, sure. The program was educational. You'd select the image of the visual artist, and then you'd be able to see what they were all about. I was so interested in it that I even took a year after high school, after I graduated, to take more courses so I could take advantage of the ideas. My parents never invested into a camcorder because it was way too expensive at that time. But I remember McNaughton High provided me access to one so I could make videos. Specifically when I went to Disney World in '99.
In the world, MGM from Tower of Terror. And then we go to Animal Kingdom. We're at the Festival of the Lion King.
And for the Disney movie, I used 3D animation. Then came LAN gaming. We all built computers, and then we would create our own LAN network. And the teacher, who was the moderator, would set us up to Doom, and we'd all be playing together. It was crazy. There was no online matchmaking, no Discord, no streaming, just a room full of computers with cables everywhere, and people yelling across the room while playing and being banned. It felt social in a completely different way. You weren't connected to strangers around the world yet. You were connected physically to the people sitting beside you. That era had personality. Even school itself felt different. I still remember seeing one of my teachers ballroom dancing with their partner in the hallway. And I remember making music in the studio that they had at the school. Moments like that made everything feel human. Meanwhile, the internet kept evolving. In the year 2000! In the year 2000! I was working at Deluxe at the time. Then I got the job over at Crystal Palace. And then Future Shop. I was a cashier. I had with me a Nokia phone, a cell phone. It allowed me to play Snake. Mine was unique because it got a cigarette burn from when I was at the club. My friend wanted to make a joke. Those things could survive bomb blasts. I remember the communications department at the time. They used to sell Palm Pilots, handheld organizers, partial keyboards, flip phones. I remember breaking my Palm Pilot, and the apps felt like it was like the Game Boy version of a computer, and you had to run it on dial-up internet at the time. But that was essentially the mobile way of accessing the internet. I eventually sold computers and laptops. There was a marketing guy from Microsoft that showed up who presented to us the hyper-threading Pentium 4 processor, which we all received a copy of, along with the motherboard that came with it. I remember custom building my new machine. It was great. I was living in the city, so by that time I was getting LAN internet or Cat 5. Technology wasn't quite there yet, but I really enjoyed working at Future Shop. I miss those days. And suddenly music itself was changing forever. People started downloading MP3s via Napster, Mediafire. Metallica even got upset and there was a lawsuit. Owning physical albums slowly started disappearing. The internet made music easier to access, but it also changed the value people placed on it. Websites became more ambitious. Flash animation appeared. People were going on Messenger to chat. That was the only way we could connect to people at the time. The iPod was big too, but I just ended up using my CD player because that had the MP3 function where I could just play it if I burned a disc. In 2007, that's when technology went from 3G to 4G. CD collections, cassette tape, printed photos, game manuals, everything slowly became digital.
3 things: a widescreen iPod with touch controls, a revolutionary mobile phone, and a breakthrough internet communications device. This is one device. We are calling it iPhone. You can do multi-finger gestures on it, and boy, have we patented it. So, a revolutionary user interface. We're going to build on top of that with software. iPhone runs OS X.
And while technology made life easier, sometimes it also made life feel overwhelming. Back then, media felt intentional. You'd sit down and listen to an album from beginning to end. You'd flip through physical albums with family. You appreciated things differently because it took effort to get it. All you got to do now is download apps, and it's going to give you everything that I learned in high school. Like CapCut lets you edit, add 3D effects, transition, not to mention the quality nowadays is way better. Then there's Instagram that lets you see photo albums, and all you got to do is scroll. And surfing through feeds, scrolling through them, like TikTok and Facebook. And there's a custom algorithm that tailors it to your own specifications. There used to be Winamp, now you got Spotify, people make playlists, same with YouTube. All music videos are basically on YouTube now. Everything is wireless, so there's no waiting required at all. And it's instant. And if you want to build an app nowadays, AI can help with that. Unlimited music, unlimited videos, unlimited scrolling. And sometimes it feels like we traded focus for convenience. Technology connected the world, but it also filled every quiet moment. The internet stopped being a place we visited. It became something constantly surrounding us. Still, looking back now, it's incredible how quickly everything changed. We went from party line telephones, handwritten phone books, physical photo albums, floppy disks, dial-up internet, school computer labs, to carrying the entire digital world in our pockets. The analog phone became a smartphone. The family photo album became cloud storage. The encyclopedia became the internet. And the wired world became wireless. And when I think back to hearing that dial-up modem connect for the first time, I honestly never would have imagined it would have led to this. And that's the end of the tape. If you felt the nostalgia, hit like and subscribe. Rewind it. I'll see you next time.